Have we started?
Hello.
So unclear to
So-
me. There we go.
Sorry, we're
Now
a
we've
little
started.
bit. No, I think it starts
No,
from
it
the
didn't
very.
because it was 1 second.
Not really.
It's so unclear how it starts. So welcome. I hope you
Hello.
guys were able to figure out how to adjust your schedule. So instead of tuning in at 9, you are here at 10:30.
We had another thing, so
We had
we're a little delayed.
another dream thing. Um, I just have to say I'm really excited right now because I just got a text from my homeboy Fatty B, and I recorded a podcast with him called Threesome, which is what he calls it, and it's 3 songs. It's a wonderful podcast he's been doing with a bunch of people, and he recorded me last week, and it's 3 songs that not your favorite songs, but 3 songs that were really like important emotionally. Um, and
That's
so
so great.
it's
I love
really,
that.
I'm so excited because it was so much fun to do.
I love that it's not
Yeah.
like I love. Yeah, one of mine would be "Boys of Summer,"
By Don Henley.
but by Don Henley, which the song I hate more than any other song, like because it just reminds me of like my Malay. It just like was
That song
the
is
worst.
devastating.
It's like I can't.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's I don't have any perspective over
Mm-hmm.
whether it's an actual good song or whatever.
Right.
I can't stand
That's a
it.
devastating
It's like
song.
steeped,
Yeah.
and any Billy Joel song makes me literally want to like physically harm someone. Like literally,
Steve, if you're watching, see, this is why we have to have our Billy Joel podcast.
like literally, seriously.
I didn't know. I
physically
don't think I
harm.
ever knew that.
Oh, I'm
No wonder we got married.
um, I mean, it's really. I wish it wasn't so.
So let's talk.
But it happens.
We should spend the next
So-
hour talking about Billy
But,
Joel because Steve and I were going to do a Billy Joel podcast for this very reason.
But
More
I
my
don't.
mixed feelings.
But it's
about
this. It's it's different for me than it is for
Oh,
you. The whole thing.
Trust me. No,
Yeah.
Billy Joel was. I thought Billy Joel was teaching me everything I needed to know
Ugh.
about being a man.
Ugh.
Should I try to be a straight A student? If you are, then you think too much.
God. I can't. I just. It's like this thing with. Yeah, it like makes me feel so sick in the deepest part of my it makes me sink so far down into myself.
Wow.
Like, I mean, it really, in both of those things.
Wow.
It like makes me, it must be, obviously related to, it's related to the girl that we talked about last time, in my dream place of the girl who hangs herself, like who's walking to the outbuilding to hang myself. And it's like that, it totally supports that place. It feels like that, it like, it ignites
that's like her
that
theme.
place.
That's like her theme.
Yeah,
song.
that's like her. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the song. Like it's like it. I don't even. It's like hard to describe. It's like it doesn't drain me of my energy, but it like. It's like there's this dark, vacuous thing underground that it's like calling to. It's like, and it like has all this like that magnet. When we talk, and it's like it.
yeah.
It really like strengthens that kind of
Yeah.
nihilistic magnet, like in a way that is, and I know, I can just feel like, I'm just gonna let it be that I'm not gonna apologize or try to, couch what I'm saying with anything, but that's really, my experience. Which, so that's saying all that to say that's a cool podcast, premise and the differentiation that it doesn't have to be a song that you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say a lot on the podcast. I'll share the link. I guess on here we can do it, and people are listening, and on my own Facebook stuff. But yeah, it's deep. It's really good. I'm just moved that Boys of Summer is that song for you because I remember when it came out and it was popular.
Oh my God,
And-
which made it a million times
Yeah.
worse because it was playing all the time
Well,
everywhere.
and I think I may be wrong, but I feel like it came out toward the end of the summer that I was in when I was 13. It was 13. I think it was 83. And it's so like it so spoke to my aloneness, like that. It was like it's kind of like my experience, sort of that feels like it relates to what you're saying. Is it like it reinforced the feeling of aloneness.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the boys of summer are gone. Like it's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
As
It's.
if they ever leave.
Mhm.
Oh shit, said the fairies. They're not
Mhm.
going anywhere.
Mhm.
They're always here.
Yeah.
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 And if you're tuned in, listening, comment, like, do all those things. So we know that the boys
Yeah.
of
If
we
you
know that
if
all you boys of summer are out
right,
there.
how do you feel about Billy Joel? And
Yeah, yeah. Let's start a
and
Billy
also
Joel forum.
no, let's please not. But I'm just anything to
Yeah.
just
It's so hard for me not to talk about some of the things my friend Steve and I have been talking about with
yeah.
Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we not? Because
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I want to like rewind a little bit because I can feel like as you start talking, like I'm like something's happening in me that's like um I don't know. I feel it like this in the back of my neck, which is like happens to me sometimes, which is I think it like is connected to my throat, and I can feel myself wanting to shut down or something and like
Mm-hmm.
just let you talk and um
Mm-hmm.
say all the brilliant things about attachment theory and all that shit. And
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like um but like on my way down the hill to do the other thing that we did, which usually is, the time when I'm coming down to do this, which is people who do might watch. Yeah, a lot can happen in those few minutes, 5 to 15 minutes, depending if I'm like running or walking or whatever. But I was just dropping down and down and down and down and down into all this feeling, mostly pain, but like I think it was all pain, but it was like varied. Like it was like pain with all these different qualities. That Yeah, it's like I don't want to try to describe it because I don't want to, because I'm not exactly there right now, but I
Mm-hmm.
can feel the edges of it. And to me, it's like to fall so deeply and let myself go into it. So my process getting to here was just like letting myself fall deeper into like letting the feelings like just come and come and come and in my body I was like feeling all these things in my body, like it was like every nuance, like every kind of different flavor of the pain was
Mm.
like literally I felt like it was light, like, and it was like a stained glass, like something, I mean, like feels crazy, like these, but like these thing, it was like opening up these like different like colored lights like
Mm.
inside me that like just held this like these agonizing different pains for different, connected to different things, and a lot relating to what really opened me up is the moment I was listening to this Jason Isbell song, speaking of songs,
Mm.
um and I just felt how something in listening to the song, I just realized so fully, like, and deeply how loved I have been for my whole life, including that girl who hung herself because she couldn't like stand with the pain anymore, and stand with the knowledge, like, in the capacity to hold and all of it. I could just no longer be who I was, like, and I just didn't, without any support. And I hung myself in the way that I did. And to really what I've been feeling and what I was part of what I fell into this morning was just this, the depth of how loved I was and am through all of that and into
Mm.
this time now, but especially
Mm.
how loved I was during that time. Like, I think I've been carrying shame around separating from myself,
Yeah.
knowing all that I've known and having all the love that I had when I was young, um, and not have any doubt whatsoever, and like living in the magical realm, kind of, which is like how I experience everything. And now that I'm coming back into that, um, and have been, or whatever, like, but like having that perspective of realizing that that the split, happened, and that I developed my persona and like all that stuff to survive, if you can call that surviving, but at least it was in some way. And now I feel like I'm like more myself, and like I just feel really like free and present, and everything feels really simple for the most part. And I think I just was judging. I clearly was judging that girl who stepped into that room and hung herself. And so, in being in my place of going to get the man, and the man, my place, like, then being that girl and feeling him lift me up and like unloosen the rope and falling into his arms is like changed everything about everything about everything. So, um, part of so this is connected to the pain. The first opening of the different pains that came this morning was feeling and realizing so profoundly how realizing not so profoundly realizing how deeply I was loved and am loved in this profound way, including all that girl, and including just having to make that decision, and including because when I'm walking as the girl in the dream, when I'm walking to the outbuilding, I don't love who I am. It's like really stuff that's like really. It's just how locked down I was. If just like that unreachable place of like, no love is going to come ever again. It's just like so. That hardness is really, it's so not who I am, and it's painful. But I have judged that over the years, and I didn't know that.
You didn't know that.
I didn't know that I was judging that until this dream came. And so I've, in this process that I've been in the past couple of weeks, I'm no longer judging, and I'm really bringing love, feeling that girl being loved, and that all of it, I'm feeling a lot of love for that, which is really like different. It's really different, and it's it's freed up a lot of space. And it's really offered a new perspective and a different perspective for me somehow in everything. Like I don't know, like everything, like kind of my past, or like some thoughts that I've had about who I was or what it was like. And I'm not really interested in like intellectualizing all that, but I have noticed some things. So I don't find that like going into that is really helpful for me in my own process for the most part. It's like, because it takes me out of the the like the hot blood place
that I'm feeling, that you're feeling.
So yeah. So I just wanted to share that. And yeah. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of actually something that I did write in one of the descriptions of this podcast, but like, because yesterday was a day that we were going to go and have a day to celebrate my birthday, which is later in the month, but because there's a concert of a guy I really love, and so my guy and Ben and Wake and I were all gonna go to this concert, and like I was really, really, really looking forward to it. Was really excited, but they canceled the concert because we're in a winter storm. So I just decided to like cancel the whole day because it's a long drive, and so we canceled the whole day, and instead you were like, do you want to do anything, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I just said I'd like to go to Starbucks because that's fun for me. So we went to the faraway Starbucks, and you wanted to go to the record store, and I got to go into, so you were in the record store, and I got to go into this store that I'm kind of getting to know. And it's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a very like New York City store, like
Mm-hmm.
Stowe, Vermont store,
Mm-hmm.
of like very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
where there's like, two of each thing on the rack and stuff and whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
um but like really cool stuff, like really, so I'm like getting to know these designers kind of by going into this store. and
Mm-hmm.
and yesterday I went in and I was so excited to go. I didn't like, I really wanted to just to check it out because it's so fun, and
Mm-hmm.
it's perfect because you like to go to the record store. And I didn't think I'd spend nearly as much time, but then I ended up taking some things in to try them on, which was so fun. Like to take a $700
Mm-hmm.
like something like in and just try it on. It's just like, it just felt like my birthday. It was just like, so there's just something. It was just really fun. And just like looking at the stuff that I just love, like the colors, like how the colors of the things were like just slightly off.
Mm-hmm.
It was like blue, but not quite a blue
Mm.
that I've ever seen before. Like,
Wow.
I know. I mean, that's what I'm saying is
Mm-hmm.
like, I love this. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
love it. Like, there was a sweater I was like, oh, there's always like one thing, and I'm like, oh, that's the one,
Mm-hmm.
that's like a blue of my dreams, like that you don't see IRL, IWL in waking life. It's like, just the richness and like the
Mm-hmm.
just something so special. I tried on this like crazy. I was like, first of all, I want to meet this lady. It was like some brand, Ula Johnson or something, and I was like, who's Ula Johnson? Like, I want to meet this cool lady. She seems like, I pictured her as like this, like, 90-year-old kick ass woman with gray hair and like a lot of energy and just like, passion. And it
Mm-hmm.
was this one piece, black with white. I mean, I can't even, it was so many things about it were so great, black with white, stitching, and like these buttons that were different sizes, but it wasn't like goofy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like really cool. It wasn't like clownish. It was like classy but weird and quirky, and just these poofy sleeves and these bottoms that were poofy, and oh, I mean, it was black, which is not my thing, but I was like, I'm gonna try it on anyway, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just so, the fabric was so perfect. It felt so good on. Like, I was like, Ula, I'm with you. Like, this is it. Like, it's like, yeah, there's just something about like clothes that are really good that like make me feel my heart. There's just like something about it that like I relate to in some, like, my soul. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it feels so personal. I don't know why. So it was like really great to try that on and just like feel it and like feel how good it felt on. I was just like, I just feel love. Like, I feel love in the creation. It's so wonderful. And like, the fact that that's a really big thing. Everybody, like designers, like, I could do anything in it. Like, I don't want clothes that inhibit me. Like, I don't, I want to be able to like be fully like dancing and running and going fast and going slow and wearing whatever shoes I want. And like, it's like, so, and that was that. It had this cool belt and like whatever. And so I tried it on, and it was just like so wonderful. And you know what else was wonderful is like, it didn't look good. Like, my body, I'm like too small, and like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got lost in it. But which was great because then I didn't have to want it. Then I didn't, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't, it's not going to be some head trip thing about it $700, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not, it doesn't look good and I don't want it because I don't
Mm-hmm.
look good, and that is like, I don't want to be, so that was
Mm-hmm.
great. And then I tried on really cool jeans, which also were too big, but that was fun, because I've seen this brand and like I've never seen it anywhere and I know of
Mm-hmm.
it. So, and they're cool as shit. And that was cool too. And so, anyway, I was like, if I made pants, this is how I would make them. And that's like my
Mm-hmm.
favorite. And so, I don't know why I want to share that, because another thing, well, obviously I want to share it because of what just happened, and also the young woman in the shop, like, we had this great conversation
Mm-hmm.
about that I've had with people I love, like in the DreamWorks, like, which is like about finding clothes that like match how you feel inside.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so lovely to like listen to this young woman talk about that for her and what that was for her. It was like, so it was like hearing someone's dream. It was so intimate, and I feel so grateful that she entered into there with me, and
Mm-hmm.
shared with me what that is for her. And like,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about like what happens when the clothes that we love like get ruined or get, torn, or like what,
Mm-hmm.
and just like, it was just really special. Like, it was really wonderful. So that was my, my pre-birthday celebration day was like, had to do with, with that. And being able to go to the healthy living, which, and get to see inside that finally, so I don't have to project about about what it's like. And
About how incredible it is.
yeah, speaking of like boys of summer and like that time, and just like that quality of just projecting onto everything, like projecting my longing onto everything, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah, that song is. I have. That song is perfect
Yeah.
for that. It's such a song about like loss, but not from a grief place. But yeah,
Yeah.
nobody on some. Nobody on. You hear it in the streets. Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
listen to it again. It's. I'm feeling all this confluence right now, like this synchronicity around this because that song, I just have such a distinct memory. I want to, maybe it was 82 because I think it was the same summer as Raspberry Beret. Like, I remember I was camping with this guy who was a friend with his family up in Maine. I've told you
Whoa,
this
I
story.
know, but when
Yeah.
you said
Well,
that, it was
because
like
it
really
wasn't.
good,
It was
really.
supposed to be, it was like false.
Yeah.
It was fake.
Yeah.
He didn't really have love for me, and I didn't have
Yeah.
love for him. And I
Yeah.
spent a month with his family
Yeah.
because I didn't want to, because he invited me, and I felt like obligated to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about fawning
I know, for a month,
for
not
a
even a
month.
day, not even 2 hours, but a
Yeah, a
month.
month, and it looked really good. We were camping, and they,
Yeah.
da 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 da. I did have one remarkable moment, which was totally solo that I can still remember, which was we were in Maine, and I remember sitting. You don't sit in a blueberry bush, but I was like somehow sitting in a blueberry bush eating blueberries off the blueberry bush, and that was extraordinary. And I remember, I mean, again, it's this confluence. Like, I did this wonderful thing with this guy, Fatty B, this podcast. It was so amazing. It was so amazing to think of these three songs, these three songs, all of which are connected to the depth of my hurt and despair, and all before I found the dream work and how liberating and all the other things that I've found that have helped me. Um, but all the songs are connected to that Boys of Summer kind of feeling, but they were all like little breaks from it. Like, and I'm just also feeling so 13 just feels like such a poignant
Mm-hmm. It's the year
number.
I stopped eating.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really I mean, it's if you're in trauma, 13 is like it's really hard because it's so much about identifying
Mm-hmm.
with what's out here. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
so I think we're always vulnerable to that, but I think there's
Mm-hmm.
something in particular
Mm-hmm.
when you're like 12 or 13, like you literally have to like lie about the music you like. You have to lie.
Oh my
You
God.
have to lie
Yeah.
about the clothes you like, or not
Yes.
lie, but you have to conform
Yes.
or be cast
Yes.
out.
I never
Yeah.
told anybody about the Bruce Springsteen album. Like I
Which
just
one?
well, Born in the USA,
Yeah.
and I instead was like had all my Smiths albums like displayed, but I would listen to Born in the USA and dance
Yeah.
around the living room.
Did I ever tell you the story about how I would walk holding my little Walkman with the hand on the switch for the radio station? I never told you that story. So when I was like 12 or 13, I think I had like my first Walkman. And so there was a rock station in New York City, and there was Z100, which was all pop. And I loved listening to Z100, but
Nobody else could.
should I bump into anybody I know? I mean, this is funny and terribly painful.
Yeah, yeah,
Should I bump into anybody else I know? I was immediately going to switch to
yeah.
the rock station.
No, the other. Oh wait, you loved.
I love Z100.
Oh, I thought that was the.
No,
pop
no,
station.
no. We're in New York City. Everyone's
Okay.
super hip. Like,
Okay.
This is 1982, and all the 12 and 13-year-olds are going out to see Rocky Horror Picture
Okay.
Show and
Okay.
smoking cigarettes outside of CBGBs and
Oh
shit.
my God.
Yeah, and I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
So I love the pop music, but you know, I mean, it's like whoever was. I don't even know who was it, and Echo and the Bunnymen or some shit like that.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. And so then my dream place just feels so connected to this because it's the same thing I talked about last week, if you all are tuning in every week, of watching this part of me, it's like the Boys of Summer boy. It's like the despair, empty, nihilistic, alone boy whose legs are on fire. And it's just like, oh, I don't give a shit, like, fuck it. You know, like that's who I was when I was 12 or 13. I'm in fucking, for a month in Maine, not wanting to be there, just being like, well, this is life, it's suffering. Not that there was any, I mean, and also part of the painful part about it is that I don't think there was any place I also would have rather have been.
Right.
Because everything felt like the Boys of Summer.
Right,
All
right,
felt excruciating. Yeah, Fatty B, if you're listening, we have to do another one now. Boys of Summer will be one of those songs. But, yeah, and so when you're talking about how that 13-year-old girl, like this thing that feels like this big shift, breakthrough-ish kind of feeling, the way I'm hearing it is like feeling how loved that girl was. But there wasn't. There wasn't in the world. And so I feel a similar quality of that age, of 12 or 13. It's like, part of the reason the boy is given up and is just letting himself burn is because there was no love. The best love was like me. The deeper I could suffer, the more people would say, what's wrong with you? For a little bit, and then it got boring because people don't tend to stay in that space. You know, I had all these wonderful, I call them my like Winnie the Pooh crew, because like I was Eeyore, and I love how Eeyore is treated, and Winnie the Pooh is like, he's just mopey and complaining, and they don't fucking listen. Like, they don't give a shit about all the things he's complaining about. They don't really give it, but they're like, he's part of the crew. And I think that's how I felt with these boys who I'm still friends with, thank God. I was like Eeyore, and they're like, all right, we're gonna go do stuff, and I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll go play baseball with you. And they'd be like, yep, we're gonna go play baseball, and we're like, but I'm tired. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go play baseball. You know, like it was sort of that kind of experience.
Yeah.
But there was that part that was like just the Eeyore. I'm tired. But that is that part that's burning.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure did. That's another good, metaphor for my persona as Tigger. You know, I really became Tigger.
Yeah.
And part of,
I mean, it's interesting because I saw some analysis about how every character in Winnie the Pooh is a mental illness. Peter, Christopher Robin's the boy, but then there's each one of them represents some sort of pathological aspect, which is kind of amazing. So yeah, you were Tigger, which was fantastic for me. I could be Eeyore and want to be Tigger, you know.
Yeah.
But not the boy, be Christopher Robin.
That, by the way, the Winnie the Pooh movie, like there's a Winnie the Pooh movie that came out, which is like live action or something. Wow. I just cried and cried and cried. It's amazing. I was like totally not prepared. I was like, Pooh's real. You know what I mean? Like they're real. Like
What
that's
do you mean
just
real? Like three-dimensional
yeah. They're
computer
like
stuff, or
they're like they look like I don't know. They look real. I don't know.
okay,
Like I don't know. They just
yeah,
look real. It's not a cartoon, so I don't know how they did it.
yeah,
But it's really I definitely recommend it. There's really really real stuff in there. Like
yeah.
really, really really yeah.
You know, this is something that I'm realizing about in like the place of healing that I am, that seems similar to where you are, is like really loving those really empty parts. I'm not sure what the right word is, but like I also felt shame. I felt shame about being Eeyore. I felt shame about complaining, you know. Um, I felt shame about being the boy whose legs are on fire, like, but I was engulfed in, no pun intended, in the shame. And what I've been experiencing more and more very recently is like how much love and compassion I have for those parts that ended up with nothing else to do.
Yeah.
There was nothing else to do.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no love. Like there was no love. I had a little bit of love with these boys and playing sports, but everything else was fucking hellish. Going to school, being at home, any time, any seconds that I spent by myself were hellish. Yeah, of course that boy is like nihilistic and wants to give up, but I have such love, I have such compassion for that part of myself. It's like, you know, I had this, I don't think I told you about my EMDR experience. So I am a man of many therapies. So I have my dream work therapist, who I've been seeing forever, and my IFS therapist, who I've been seeing for about a year, internal family systems work, and my EMDR therapist, who I've been seeing for a couple of years. And I hadn't seen him for about 6 months. Not because I didn't want to, but I was feeling like I was doing really well, and the ADHD component of how my brain works just didn't schedule with him. Just didn't. It wasn't like choosing to or not to. Because part of the ADHD thing that I'm learning about that's so fucking weirdly marvelous is you only do things that have immediate, like you're only motivated by things that immediately impact you.
So intense.
It's really
yeah,
intense.
It's so intense.
It's really intense. Like, so as much as we're all, you know, victims of dopamine and all this, like ADHD is like, at least the way I experience it is a different thing, where it's like, don't do something unless it does something within the next 3 to 5 minutes, you know. And so I knew EMDR was wonderful, but I also was feeling great for the last 8 or 9 months. And so I reached out to him partially because I'd been meaning to, and partially because I had a terrible depressive anxiety state because of a COVID response in my body that put me right into my childhood trauma experience. So I reached out, and one of the things I love about the EMDR and the internal family systems work that I do is that often we do the work around the dreams that I have, because their experiences of both trauma and not trauma,
the dreams are
that are sort of so much deeper in than what I actually remember on some level sometimes. Like the internal healing is farther along than the memories of what it was like.
Yes.
The boy who's burning is much more, I'm able to feel more than I can feel what it was like when I was 7. Even though I can also do that too, right? But so, I mean, I guess it shifts. It's not either or. But regardless, like doing the dream work has been incredible. So one of the aspects of the dream place that I have this week is this 4-year-old boy who in the dream, he's with his mom and feels very much like what it was like for me as a 4-year-old with my mom, which is nothing. I mean, it just there was no love. Like it just was just vapid. But what I've been able to feel is the boy burning. I am, if I let that happen and don't try to help or do something, I immediately feel myself as the 4 year old boy with the animus father feeling, the 4 year old boy with the father. And so we did EMDR with that, with that feeling. And what I was able to feel myself in my room that I grew up in New York City, which was very distinct because in the summer between first and second grade, so when I was like 6 or 7, there was a fire. We were in Vermont, but there was a fire that destroyed the New York City apartment, and it was rebuilt but completely differently. So I have a very distinct before and after memory thing because the apartment was literally totally different.
Wow.
And so my room was totally different, and my room was like this kind of. It felt huge because I was 5, but it was this room that was like kind of a railroad. It was like a long room, and in the back there was this bunk bed. Um, this friend of my mom's had built like a bed below, and then there was space above. I didn't sleep up there. I slept down there, and I had a little curtain that I closed, which just feels so sweet. Um, and I can feel, so doing the EMDR with the dream and the 4 year old boy, I felt myself as a 4 year old in this room. And I had this memory that came up, which was around that time. Like, I Saturday morning was like an escape for me from everything else. It was hellish for whatever reason. They sold me with the dopamine of the Saturday morning cartoons, which is a big thing when you and I were kids. Like,
oh yeah,
Saturday morning cartoons. So I would literally like wake up and like I think they started at 7. Excuse me. And I would never wake up then. Of course, going to school, like my mom had to drag me out of bed, right? So there was the whole like because we don't understand or didn't understand how that works. Like I was choosing to get up for TV, but you're not choosing to get up for school, right? Which is fucking awful. And so I have this very distinct memory of I would watch from 7 until probably like 1 in the afternoon when the final cartoon stopped.
Yeah.
In my little room, in my bunk bed, I had a TV there. And I remember one day, my mom said that these friends of mine, the mom of a friend of mine, had called and invited us to go ice skating in Central Park. I was like, oh, that sounds great. She's like, yeah, but it's too late. Like, because I watched TV, I couldn't go ice skating. And my mom never said, she never asked. I mean, like, what a awful, devastating experience. What bad parenting. I can still feel the shame. Oh, you decided to watch TV. I could feel this like one of the few things I probably would have wanted to do was go have a day out there because everything else was so fucking boring. So that was part of the EMDR. That memory came up of that devastating moment of being 4 or 5. I'm not sure exactly how old, and that's like a boys of summer moment. It's like now it's 1 o'clock. I feel this shame about not having gotten to do the thing I wanted to do.
This.
I have no idea what to do for the rest of the day. That's like the permanent moment memory of me at that age. And so when we're doing the EMDR around this, I can immediately feel myself as the 4-year-old boy with the father. And part of what the 4-year-old self, myself in me that I feel is like it's finally okay. Like you came, like you, now we're good. Like, yeah. Like I've been waiting for this. Like the 4-year-old boy is like, yes, finally I'm free. like here I am with
Wow.
the Father, and we're gonna do all
Wow.
sorts of cool new shit.
Wow. Right. Right.
Yeah, like I
Wow.
was, so the EMDR unlocked that.
Yeah.
It was
That's
fucking
really cool.
ridiculous.
Yeah. I love I mean, one of the things that I often forget to, I don't know, to say out loud is, um, and one of the things that I love about the dreams is they really help, like, they're great, like you're talking about,
Mm,
informing other kinds of therapies, like
mm,
the other things that you might do, that dream
yeah,
work is really conducive to, like, a meditation practice, a yoga practice, but
yeah,
also IFS totally, it's like insane, the
yeah,
similar, it's
yeah.
like,
Well, you feel parts of
yeah.
these parts that stopped,
Mm-hmm.
that got exiled, is how you call it internal family systems work. This 5-year-old part that got exiled,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like
Right.
it didn't have the love or support, and
Mm-hmm.
can you be with that part?
Mm-hmm.
Ask that part what it
Right.
wants.
Right.
Ask that.
Right.
And so in through the dream work, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what does this part want? And wants
Right.
a fucking
Right.
dad,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now I have it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Enneagram is awesome. I mean, there's so many, like, great kind of, like, mingling things that
Yeah,
were really. It's like
yeah.
the a real moment for me that changed everything was when I got really into yoga, and then I really started really into yoga, like, and I started bringing my dream place
Mm.
to my yoga practice, and it was like insane. Like, I
How
was having
what was
it
insane about it?
it was like, because I was also moving my body, and
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my going returning to my dream place, doing my dream homework, and especially in the moments of breath where the yoga teacher wasn't talking,
Mm-hmm.
and I could really breathe into the dream place, then it was like my body, everything that was trapped in my body was able to move through,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to just really, I felt secure, like I felt
Mm-hmm.
safe in there. I mean, I really loved my yoga teacher, and I did feel safe with her. So I would just cry on the floor, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't like, woo, like, I wasn't making a spectacle of myself. I was
Mm-hmm.
quiet, but it was like I really was able to let everything really move through, and it was my, not that that's what this it's about, but like I was really progressing. I was really
Mm-hmm.
going deep. It helped me deepen my dream practice. My
Mm-hmm.
dream stuff, and it was just so, it was like such a game changing thing, and that's part of why bringing the dream places and the dream homework into our waking life realm, like, for
Mm-hmm.
me, has changed my life and continues to change my life,
Mm-hmm.
and um, like, in such a dramatic way, and it helps. I realize in this conversation, in everything, part of why I walked to that outbuilding and hung myself was because I was like, why is no one acknowledging reality?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it just got so hard. Like, I was just, everyone was disappearing who did acknowledge reality, and part of the reality that I felt was how love was in everything, and everything was infused with love, literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I that was my experience. I did never doubted it, but then I was like, why are people, then just became harder and harder. I was like, why is everyone acting like this? Like,
Without the love,
yeah,
like,
without
yeah.
the love, and like, why? And then the things happened where, like, then, whatever, my house wasn't great, and so I was like, this doesn't feel loving, like, so it got confusing and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But uh-oh,
What?
I feel like I lost the I feel like I lost the thread. Oh, but like, but in bringing my dream place and my dream work into my waking life, and that has helped, that is a bridge. So, like, it's like, because the my dream place holds the reality that I know as actual reality, so, like, bringing it into my waking life,
Mm-hmm.
and into, like, going out and going to the grocery store and, like, all that stuff that it is to be human, has helped me feel less alone and crazy, because I'm like, it's congruent. I'm like, oh, yes, yes, this, yes, so I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to keep compartmentalizing, and so that's something that's really helpful. Hence the same thing with the yoga class, and
Mm-hmm.
same is it in bringing
integration.
the integration, this deep work
Yeah.
into other work can just really, really like help. It's like adding a beautiful, like whole herb to the
Mm,
concoction of healing herbs,
yeah.
that we're taking for ourselves. So it's incredible, incredible,
Yeah.
and there's great music and
Yeah. I want you to listen to these things. I'm
I
just
know
so
I want to hear
curious to
it.
see
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
yeah, like what your feedback. I just felt like and Fatty B, the guy who interviewed me,
Who's such a sweet
he's
sweetheart.
such a sweetheart,
Yeah.
and he just he allowed me all this space. I mean, one of the beautiful things about this podcast, like I encourage people to go look for it. It's called Threesome. I'm not sure where you find it though, actually, because I don't think he's on the podcast thing. Anyway, um, he just gives people space to talk. And it's really cool. I was like wondering how he did it because it almost seems like when you listen that he's not in the room. It almost seems like, but it's because he gives you all the space to talk,
And then he edits
and
it.
then he pauses it, and he's like, "Now I'm going to ask you a question, like a question." But yeah, I just had so much space. But he was right there with me, which was part of it. It wasn't like I was talking and recording something. Like he and I were talking, and he loves music in a way that I love music, and it was so delightful. And it was also just fun because there was just this connection of him knowing all the songs that I knew, even though some of them were not, because we talked about more than just those three. And we talked about like this woman I had met when I was in the psych hospital named Rhoda.
Oh, I
And-
remember her.
And so like he was like, I can't wait. I'm gonna find the Rhoda theme, and I'm gonna like throw the Rhoda theme in the background. I hadn't heard the Rhoda theme, so I like looked it up on YouTube, and it's so great. Just like I'm Rhoda Morgenstern. I grew up in Queens, and so yeah, and so now when you say Boys of Summer, it's like that also. I have this Spotify playlist if people are interested, um, called the Best Song of All Time. Not songs, but Best Song of All Time, and it's songs that hit me deep, basically. And I don't listen to it very much because then, unfortunately, the more I listen to things, the less it can sort of hold the quality sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But I want to add Boys of Summer to that. And there was another one I thought of yesterday. Oh, Dry the Rain by the Beta Band.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you do that Prince podcast with? Was that Fatty B or
No, that was Craig Mitchell.
That was Craig.
Yeah, that was Craig Mitchell.
That's amazing.
Well,
that was on my
I'll have to
iPod.
dig- I'll have to
It
dig
probably
that
is
up.
still on my iPod, which
Yeah,
is
I
like,
have it on my music library.
it's so incredible.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
gosh.
good. Oh,
Oh my
yeah. I love Craig. I love Fatty B. They love music and they love me.
Speaking of Christopher Robin and
Yeah.
that was A.A. Milnish.
Yeah.
And I just A.A. Milne and Winnie the Pooh reminds me so much of my grandpa,
Oh. Wakefield? Yeah.
who just had the best way of loving. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much is everything's in everything.
You just put a nice bow on that again. Oh, well, this feels
Thanks,
like a
everybody.
time. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
We're off to venture into the crazy snowstorm that I'm so delighted by. Everything is shut down. It's been snowing since about 5 o'clock last night, and it's been heavy.
Yeah, it's gonna go until at least 5 a.m.
And it's supposed to rain at like 2 or 3.
Yikes.
Yikes!
Yeah.
So tune in.
Yeah, reach out if
Reach
you
out. Send
if
messages.
you want to us.
If you're interested in the dream work, either one of us are happy to
Yeah.
talk more about it.
I have
You
a
know?
website, awtdreamwork.com.
Why don't we say that every time?
Yeah. awtdreamwork.com.
We're going to get our conglomerate
Yeah.
together. We should have a website too. All right, folks.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.